Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Adding and Subtracting Rational Expressions notes. I will tell you what page to put this on in class. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, when in elementary, when you were asked to add fractions together, well, what the teacher said is, we need to find the greatest common multiple, the least common multiple between 5 and 7. In other words, what number can both 5 and 7 divide into, and what's the smallest number? That's a really hard concept for some students. So, um, once you figure it out, they go, okay, well, 5 and 35, 5 and 7 both have 35 in common. Okay, so in other words, if you were to multiply 5 times 7, you would get 35. But to do this, in elementary, they wanted you to multiply this by 5 over 5, and over here you had to multiply by 7 over 7, because 7 over 7 and 5 over 5 are just 1, so you're just changing the way the fraction looks. You're really not changing the fraction. Well, after we do all of our math, 7 times 5 is 35, 7 times 5 is 35, so 7 times 2, that would be 14, and 4 times 5, well, that would be 20. Turns out, since they have common denominators, ladies and gentlemen, we could add them. We can add them. So, in other words, it'll be 34 over 35. And that will be our final answer since this is simplified fraction. Now, fast forward to what we're doing now. We're going to do something very similar. However, I'm going to give you a shortcut to help you out. And I think I already talked to you about this shortcut, ladies and gentlemen. Essentially, what we're doing is this. We're adding or subtracting two fractions. Let's say a over b plus or minus c over d. And the plus or minus just means I could be adding or I could be subtracting. Well, here's what we would do. Our shortcut is take a, and you're going to add or subtract, take a and you're going to multiply that times d. So a times d, and then you're going to put plus or minus, you're going to put plus or minus b times c, plus or minus b times c, and all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be over b times, there should be a times in the middle, b times d. And I color coordinated it just to let you know this is how you would multiply, or to do this to simplify this fraction. This is the shortcut. I believe I have shown you this in the past. However, we're going to be using this quite a bit in this section. And that's why I pre-taught it back then. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you rewind or pause the video so you can write this down, because this is going to be the slide that you're going to need. Now, moving forward. We have to do this shortcut if we don't have common denominators. But check this example number 1 out. It has a common denominator. The common denominator is, 8v. So we can add those tops together because 8 over v is the common denominator. So we'll get u minus v plus 6u minus 3v. Because there's a common denominator, we could just add these together, and some of your problems will be just like that. Okay? Now we just have to get like terms together. So remember, there's a 1 in front of this u and a negative 1 in front of this v. So when we get the like terms together, ladies and gentlemen, 1v plus 6u is 7u, and 1v, negative 1v minus 3v is negative 4v. All right? And all that's going to be over 8v. And this would be our final answer. We wouldn't have to do anything else. It's simplified. Say, well, it doesn't seem like it's going to be too difficult. It really isn't, ladies and gentlemen. It really isn't. However, it gets a little bit more complicated. But look at these denominators. Ask yourself, are they the same? Turns out they are. So now, all I need to do is write that common denominator together. 2x squared plus 13x plus 20. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the x plus 2 on top minus, but be really, really careful here. Every time we have a minus, whatever comes after that minus is going to have to be in parentheses. If you don't, you're going to be missing a sign somewhere, and that's going to throw everything off. So remember to put that back one in parentheses. All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, when I distribute this negative, it'll be negative x minus 3. Okay? So when we combine like terms, remember there's a 1 in front of this x. So 1x minus 1x, that cancels out to 0. So we're going to have no x's. These will basically cancel each other out. And what is 2 minus 3? If you said negative 1, great job. So that's the only thing in the numerator. And then we're going to have 2x squared plus 13x plus 20. Okay? That's it. It's simplified. That's our final answer. Again, I said it was more complicated, but yeah, it's more complicated because that's subtraction. But if you can get over not losing a sign, because most people, if they don't put the parentheses, they won't change that negative 3, positive 3 to a negative 3. They'll have the x as a negative, but they won't change that back one. And that would totally change the answer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to ones that you will have that do not have a common denominator. However, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember the shortcut, that's what we're going to use. So what I'd like you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is this. I'd like you to write, you're going to write long, and remember, you're just going to take these two denominators and multiply them together. This is b times d. Now I'm going to take the 3 and I'm going to multiply that times x minus 8, because that's the other denominator, and I'm going to add 4 times x plus 7. That's AD plus BC over DB. BD, sorry. All right, and to simplify this, we're going to use distributive property, so I'll multiply 3 times x and 3 times negative 8, 4 times x and 4 times 7. So this will give me 3x minus 24 plus 4x plus 28. All of that's going to be over x plus 7, x minus 8. And then combine the like terms. 3x plus 4x is 7x. Negative 24 plus 28 is plus 4. All of that will be over x plus 7, x minus 8. And that is simplified. Our final answer. Okay? I'm going to show you a very similar example. Feel free to pause video, rewind, or whatever you need to do. Here's a very similar example, ladies and gentlemen. However, this time we do have a minus in the middle. So, when I'm going to do this, so ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to be multiplying the same way, but we have just a minus in the middle. So this time, we're going to put 3 times 2 minus, now be really careful here because you're going to have to put 7 times parentheses 4v squared plus 4v. And that's going to be over this 4v squared plus 4v times the 2 on the bottom. Okay? Now we're going to do some distributive properties, some multiplication, and then simplify. So 3 times 2, well, that's easy. That's 6. Now we got negative 7 times 4v squared. That's going to give us negative 28v squared. Negative 7 times positive 4v. That's going to give us negative 28. Oops, sorry. Negative 28v. All of this is going to be over. And I'm going to go ahead and not distribute this. So I'm just going to leave this as 2 4v squared. Oh, it's horrible. Plus 4v. And actually, to be honest with you, that's pretty much simplified. I could probably reduce everything by 2, but I'm going to leave it like that because what I want you to do is just get used to the fact of adding and subtracting rational expressions. All right, pause the video on the next one. See if you get what I get. Hopefully you've paused the video and you've come back to this. And this is what we would get together. Ready? It's going to be 3 parentheses x minus 2 plus 7 parentheses x plus 6. And all this will be over x plus 6 times x minus 2. Okay? Using distributive property, 3 times x, 3x, 3 times negative 2, negative 6, 7 times x, e plus 7x, and 7 times 6. That will give us 42. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, will be over x plus 6, x minus 2 from our shortcut. And of course, combined like terms, we would get 10x plus 36, I believe, over, and then we'll have x plus 6, x minus 2. If you got that when you paused the video, you did really great. So this is very typical of the kind of questions you're going to be seeing. All right, and now let's go ahead and do this next example. Of course, there's a minus in the middle, so pause the video, see if you get what I get. Be careful when you put that minus there, okay? Hopefully you pause the video, and here's what you should have written. You should have written a long fraction. This will be x plus 1, x plus 2, and in the numerator we're going to have 4 times x plus 2 minus 2 times x plus 1. Now, doing distributive property, don't forget to bring that negative with you. Negative 2x minus 2. All that's going to be over x plus 1 times x plus 2. Getting the like terms together, we'll have 2x minus 6 over x plus 1 times x plus 2. Okay. I know, it seems like a lot, but it really is not too much. I think all of y'all can do this, and it's not too difficult. Okay, for our last example, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it starts to get complicated. Now, if you look at these denominators, they're not the same, and we could use our shortcut. However, I want to show you something. After looking at this for a while, I started noticing, I can factor that. And if I can factor that by using the factors of 1 times 9, which is 9, I would see that I would get 1 times 9 and 3 times 3. Hey, 3 plus 3 gives me 6. Let me factor this and see what it would look like. So I would get 2x over x plus 3 times x plus 3. It turns out, ladies and gentlemen, that they don't have a common denominator. They don't have a common denominator, but the denominators are kind of simple, and not simple, but they're very similar. All this denominator needs on the right-hand side is another x plus 3. So, instead of using the shortcut, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put x plus 3 over x plus 3, like they did in elementary, but now they have common denominators. So, So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to write 2x plus, and now I'm going to use distributive property here to get 7x plus 21. All of this is going to be over x plus 3 and x plus 3. Simplifying it, I would get 9x plus 21 over x plus 3 times x plus 3. Sometimes a shortcut is helpful, but sometimes even noticing and remembering that you have to factor stuff also helps out. So remember, use all the tools that I've given you. Ladies and gentlemen, copy these notes down, and that bell means that y'all are coming to class right now. So I will see you in a bit.